you really care about. It's a different kind of a radio talk program. We're the radio talk show that is not hosted by a right-wing wacko or a convicted felon. No! I am your host. Write down our toll-free telephone number. You're going to need it. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866. Uncle. I'm saying uncle. Okay, and the reason I'm saying uncle is not because of the number of nieces and nephews I have whose names I don't know. No, that's not why I'm saying uncle. I'm saying uncle because so many of you, and I mean so many of you, cruising around the internet saw the following article I'm going to read to you. And you all knew I would have an opinion about it if only I would read it. So for those of you who haven't seen it, or for you girls whose boyfriends haven't shown you how to log on to the internet or how to turn on the computer, and I know there are many of you out there, let me read to you this article. It is appearing on the MSN.com website, but it is actually a promotion for Match.com, where the pathetic meet the losers, for the most part. Are there exceptions? Yeah, don't call in, okay? But generally speaking, pathetic. Let me read to you this article. It appears in MSN.com's Love and Relationships section, which it says here is, quote-unquote, powered by Match.com, meaning probably sponsored by. This article is called 15 Reasons to Date Single Moms by Susan Hayden. By the way, just because we rip Match.com doesn't mean we haven't been there. I've been there. I've seen what's there. Single moms, fat chicks, you know who's on Match.com, okay? Hey, you. So, of course, Match.com is going to put an article like this up there because of the preponderance of single mothers. You should be aware of this when you use one of these online dating services. The reason women use these online dating services is not because they're 9s and 10s and they have low self-esteem. These are women with kids who don't get out of the house at all. So they put the kids in front of the TV with Cartoon Network or the Disney Channel playing. Then they log on looking for love, and you are what they find. Think about that. I was cruising by yesterday. I saw The Little Princess playing on TV yesterday. These single moms have that playing in the background while they're online saying, what are you wearing? Okay, please. It's like sad. So we know who uses these online dating services, okay? Single mothers. And by the way, might I add, before I read this article to you, it is single mothers who had their self-esteem beaten down till they got on Match.com and lied about their looks and downplayed the fact that they had kids and what have you, and couldn't believe the response they got, and so many guys responded, it raised their self-esteem, and then they start getting picky. Then they start saying, hey, I don't need you, I got 187 other responses. You don't even want to get into that soup, you know what I'm saying? Do not use Match.com or any online dating service. Don't do it. The last thing you need is some chick who has so much email, her box is full of responses from guys who don't know that she's 185 pounds, she's 5'1", that the picture of her was her high school graduation picture that she cut and pasted from Classmates.com. Another place she's probably cruising looking for love. And the fact that she has kids is buried underneath all the verbiage about how she wants to be treated like a queen. Do you really want to compete with all these guys? All the guys who are responding to get that? Oh, yeah. We explored Match.com, AdultFriendFinder.com. I've seen all of them. Yahoo has their own personals. I've seen what's there. Many of you send me personal ads from these websites, and it's a sad lot. All right, this article from Susan Hayden of Match.com is called 15 Reasons to Date Single Moms. Let's take these 15 reasons and analyze them, shall we? Okay, here's the article. Trying to meet that special someone presents a special challenge for most single moms. First of all, between playing chef, chauffeur, and chief homework helper, it's hard to find time to think about love. By the way, I might add, boys, it's also hard to find time to have sex, which is why you're looking to date someone in the first place. If you want to get laid and you have to compete with a woman who's playing chef, chauffeur, and homework helper, plus maybe she has a job to support herself because of the last loser she was with who impregnated her and now won't pay any child support, now, where do you fit in? Let's just start with that. The article continues. It says here that many single moms fear that potential dates will be turned off by the thought of an instant family. And here's what she says next. Nothing could be further from the truth. Of course we're turned off by that idea. That's why so many of you lie about having kids in the personal ads. You lie or you bury it underneath a lot of verbiage and stuff because you know how we feel. We know what it's like to be around you and those crumb crunchers. We know. This woman with a vested interest, the 8 zillion single mothers who populate sites like Match.com, goes on to say that single moms possess attributes that uniquely qualify them to be successful partners in any relationship. Here are just a few reasons why single moms make great mates. Let's analyze, shall we? 1. This is a single mom they're talking about. You can feed your dog, take out the trash, and pay your taxes, all while making the world's best brownies. Boys, under the age of 40, how many girls do you know, born in the United States of America, will cook anything anymore? When's the last time a woman made a meal for you, whether she has kids or not? The last time I dated a single mother? Oh, yeah, she cooked. Tyson corn dogs, Tricks, ding-dongs, take-out Chinese food. Oh, yeah, she cooked. Fruit roll-ups. Yes, she was great at making those fruit roll-ups. Here's how you make a fruit roll-up. Go to the store, buy a box of fruit roll-ups, press tab to open. Oh, yeah. I did not see a single brownie the entire time. Oh, my God. The only brownies were the nips. That was about it. 2. This is, again, talking about a single mother. You can understand babbling. What? Is that an implication that men babble? We don't even want to talk to you. Here's what we want you to do. Take your clothes off, spread your legs, insert here. That's it. Do we really want to sit there and talk to you about what your day was like? DVD got stuck in the machine while you were watching Aladdin. You had to go to school, to a teacher conference today. You have to go to the supermarket. You had an argument with your ex-husband. Do we really want to sit and listen to that? I've done the single mother route, boys. I'm telling you, that's what it is. Not to mention all the money you're going to expend in the course of it. Oh, my God. Number 3. I mean, these are unbelievable. You chase away bad dreams. Well, you chase away bad dreams for your children, maybe, but you cause bad dreams when we see you naked. And then we see the ravages of having children. I must tell you, I've awakened more than once in a cold sweat, imagining stretch marks, that blue thunderbolt that I always talk about, that one blue vein that goes all the way down the center of your gut, the C-sections. Oh, unspeakable. Not to mention the fact that, well, the word tight wouldn't mean anything to most single mothers. It would be kind of like, all right, I'm down here. Would you like me to do something down here? Yeah. 4, you don't have time to touch the remote. Well, you may not have time to touch the remote, but have you ever been at the home of a single mother? There's no point touching the remote because you're going to be watching the Cartoon Network, the Disney Channel, the ABC Family Channel. I know them all, by the way. Something called Toon Disney. That's what you're going to be watching at a single mom's home. You're not going to be watching the ball game. Absolutely not. And let me remind you, you're not going to be watching the ball game even if mom has boys. And the reason is because mom will tell the boys that dad was a jerk, and mom will tell the boy, hey, you know, you ought to be watching gymnastics, or maybe you ought to tune into, like, romantic comedies, or, sitcoms about family life and stuff like that. The kid's not going to be watching football with you on Sunday afternoon. Not happening. Don't even think about it. Okay? Number 5, you coddle and humor when necessary, especially on sick days. Mostly what I got from single mothers when I was around them, whether I was dating them or not, they're always tired. Because they're always staying up way late because the kids never go to bed on time because there's no man around the house to tell the kids to go to bed on time. They always have to get up way early to take the kids to school. And they have to run in 6 different directions. So there isn't much time left to humor anybody. And if there's anything left, it goes to the kids. Number 6, once you've had to change dirty diapers, dealing with your boyfriend's messy socks is no sweat. Again, what country are we talking about here? 7, you know when to say no. As one of you wrote into me, that's a benefit? That's a benefit to a man? A woman who knows when to say no? We want to be with a woman who doesn't know how to say no. A woman who knows how to say no, please. By the way kids misbehave these days, do you really think most single mothers know how to say no? Look around. 8, you learned how to share the last breakfast bar. Of course, in a man's house, we don't eat breakfast bars, okay? Pizza, hamburgers, hot dogs, steaks, that's what men eat. Men don't eat breakfast bars. We eat breakfast bars and fruit roll-ups when we're dating single mothers. The last time I had a fruit roll-up, I was sharing it with a 7-year-old child. And I haven't had one since. 9, you know which games are worth playing. Look, there's only one game I like to play with a woman, and that's called Hide the Salami. And if you don't like to play that game, you're out. That's it. 10, the compassion and consideration you've learned as a mom will help your relationship survive. In a world where relationships end all the time. Well, is that so? What happened to the baby daddy? If that's true. What happened to that relationship? The guy you call an a-hole, a jerk, a deadbeat. What happened to him? Being a single mother means you'll know how to make a relationship survive? Fat chance. 11, you're a skilled negotiator. Again, I don't want to be with women who know anything about negotiating. Because that means I get to negotiate for half of my wallet, which I don't want to hand over. 12, dirt is not such a big deal anymore. Yeah, what's the positive side of that? Yeah, you know what? I must tell you, the last single mother I was with, beautiful woman, disheveled half the time, walking around in sweatshirts and sweatpants and her hair a mess in her little sweaty apartment with the 2 kids. Tell you what, yeah, dirt's no big deal. Place is a mess. Everybody eating off everybody else's plates. 13. And I'd like to know the benefit to a man here. You can slay dragons and tackle the boogeyman. Okay. 14. You pick your battles. Yes. And you'll save them all for your boyfriend. Right, ladies? Who wants to fight with your cute children? No. Fight with the boyfriend. Fight with the ex-husband. You pick your battles. And 15. You tolerate cartoons on Saturday mornings. Let me tell you something. If I'm in bed with you Friday night, I don't want to be watching cartoons on Saturday morning. But if you're a single mother and I'm stupid enough to stay over, that's what I'm going to be doing. Well, you prepare tricks for everybody. Yeah. Okay. So those are the 15 reasons. And by the way, this is somebody who sat down. She works with Match.com, a website that caters to single mothers and other losers like that. And this is somebody who had time to think about this, and this was the 15 best reasons she could come up with. Do you think I'm being unreasonable?
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
If there was no women in this world, what would you do? Y'all be running around circles, going, duh.
No, we wouldn't.
Yeah, you would.
No, we'd be slapping the salami.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Tom Leykis, only on Hot Talk 1080 KOTK.
Oh, yeah, the Tom Leykis Show, 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Marcus on a cell phone. You're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Messiah.
Hello, Marcus.
Okay, I got to tell you, Tom, you hit the nail on the head with this subject, as you normally do, and I got to tell you, the bitch I was with for 2 freaking years wasted my time, wasted my money, wasted my sex drive. It was insane.
Mm-hmm.
And all I want to say was I want to thank you for finally, it took about, I listened to you for 2 years while I was with her, but it finally sunk in. I finally went home one day and I said, F you, I'm out of here, and it worked. And I just want to thank you for that, Tom, and I just want you to blow that bitch up for me.
I'll blow her up, baby. Here you go. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. We're talking about an article on MSN.com, which actually came from a website called Match.com, called 15 Reasons to Date Single Moms. These reasons are weak. Well, we went over those. Now we'll get your reaction to my reaction as we continue.
The Tom Leykis Show. This is the Tom Leykis Show.
From Los Angeles at 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Rich on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. How you doing?
All right, Rich.
Yeah, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, I'm just sitting here. I'm driving, and this list you're running down is unbelievable. I mean, I had the similar experience with a single mom, and as you're going down the list, I mean, I'm just laughing here, you know. It's just, I mean, right down to the tricks, you know, for a Saturday morning breakfast.
Yeah, there's cooking. How much cooking did that single mom do for you?
Not at all. You know, the Chinese takeout, we had that. You know, just whatever was around and whatever was cheap.
I ate a lot of chin-chin during that time.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I remember going to McDonald's with her and the 2 kids, and they came out to $37.
Yep.
And I couldn't believe it. I'm thinking, wait a minute, I've never spent more than $10 at McDonald's.
How many Happy Meals did you have to purchase?
3, because the kids kind of, you know, they were a little bit big, so, you know, they each, you know, had 1.5. And
they wanted an extra toy in there.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, well, you know the deal. Believe me, Rich, I've been there.
Yeah, it's amazing, and you know, I mean, they gotta tell all these lies about this whole list. I mean, that's the only way they're gonna get any kind of, you know, people looking for them, because it doesn't make any sense. Anybody who's been there knows that there's no way.
Yeah,
there's just no way.
And by the way, let's add, there is no appreciation for anything you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, zero, because she's always with the kids, always taking care of the kids.
And like a husband, she just expects you to pay for everything and expects you to do everything.
Exactly. And there's no way. I mean, these aren't my kids, and the guy is no longer around. And then, I find out really quick why he's not around. And, I mean, what made things worse was, if we get into arguments, and then she threatened to call the police. And, I actually had phone calls from social workers telling me that if we're into any kind of debate and we're arguing and when the kids are in the house, I could actually be arrested for child endangerment.
That's true.
Just for arguing, just for having a conversation, and I start talking a little bit loud, and the kids are in the house, she can call 911, they'll pick me up, handcuff me, and take me away.
Uh-huh.
And, that was all I needed to hear, and that was it,
No, done. Not doing that anymore.
No, I haven't, and all my, friends, I've told them, hey, listen, stay as far as you possibly can away from these women, because there's no benefit. Zero.
Good points, Rich. Thank you.
Yep. No problem, Tom.
Appreciate the call. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. This is Jennifer. Hello.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
Great.
Listen, I wanted to call because I'm a single mom.
Uh-huh.
And my two boys, we do joint custody, so the boys go with their dad for a week and they're with me for a week, so Dad's around. But I have to tell you, that list is insulting. I want to know how she sat down and wrote that list. I mean, she must have sat down for 5 minutes.
Well, not only that, as you can see, what she lists as benefits are not benefits to men. Maybe they're benefits to children, but they're not benefits to men.
Exactly. And it's just sad because there are some single moms out there that don't want a dad for their kids. But, as a single mom, I have to say that I was just laughing because some of those things on there just kind of crack me up. I mean, I watch football on Sundays, but, it's insulting.
Yeah. Well, again, I do think lots of single moms like to think of themselves this way. The bottom line is, just like many women who call this show can't separate sex and relationships, which for a man are two separate issues, and sex and marriage, for any man who's been married, those are definitely two separate issues.
Of course.
But also, benefits to your children and benefits to your man are completely different things.
Well, then maybe she should have labeled that, benefits for the children instead of benefits for the, for the man looking for a single mom.
Yeah, I mean, the more your child is getting, the less I get.
Exactly.
I mean, there's no benefits. And like I say, this idea that these women are feeding the dog, taking out the trash, paying their taxes, and making brownies. Where are all these women who are making brownies?
I don't know, Tom. I make brownies once in a great while, but you know what? I don't make brownies.
Yeah. Well, that's what I expect. Most women born in the United States don't even want to make dinner anymore.
Well, that's
the hamburger helper generation, that was the 70s, okay? Making things from scratch was like the 50s. Hamburger helper and shake and bake were in the 70s, and now you have women who, they either buy frozen food and toss it in the microwave, or they stop at McDonald's, Chili's, In-N-Out, Mel's Drive-In, or wherever to pick up stuff on the way home. Well, I remember the last time I dated a single mother, I'd call and say, okay, I'm on my way over. And she'd say to me, oh, could you stop off and get Italian food? That's what she did.
That's crazy.
Yes. By the way, I can get a whole box of Ronzoni for $1.59. but you can't stop at an Italian place and get out for under $30.
Nope. Well, thank you very much, Tom. Can you take me out with a screaming orgasm?
Here it comes, Jennifer.
Oh, God. Oh, yes, yes, yes.
1-800-5800-TOM.
What did you just say?
1-800-5800-866.
Gotcha.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Tom Leykis.
The Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. Eric on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello. Eric? All right, we'll go looking for Eric. We'll say hello to Jennifer on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Yeah, this is Jennifer.
I know, I just said that.
Yeah, I just have a problem with your issue here, and I am not a single mother. But, you know, it seems to me like you're coming down pretty hard on single mothers. Well, they didn't get to be single mothers all by themselves.
Actually, they did. And the reason they did is because women, well, if you let me finish this sentence, and then you can respond to what I'm about to say. Because women make the final decision as to whether children are born or created, including whether or not they use birth control, the kind of birth control they use, and whether or not they have an abortion. Women make that final decision.
Men are just as responsible.
No, they're really not, because a woman could stop any pregnancy at any time or could prevent any pregnancy. Women have 11 forms of birth control available to them. Men have but one. And so the fact is, it is a woman who decides to make that choice.
Not in a marriage, necessarily. You're wrong.
Oh, absolutely it is. You know, nobody can force any woman to be a mother, ever. Ever. Unless somebody is putting somebody at gunpoint and injecting sperm into them, you can't force someone to become a mother. You can't.
Once a couple decides together to have children, just because they split and he splits on her, does not leave her with it leaves her with the burden of raising this child. You have no right to come down on these women.
Sure I do. I have every right. This is America. I have every right to have an opinion. And I might add that regardless of whose fault it is or whether it happened because a woman decided to have a baby out of wedlock or whether she was married and her husband left her for the secretary or whatever, the bottom line is not whether or not she's a decent person. The bottom line is, why should any man date a woman who has that baggage?
Well, it sounds to me like there's a lot of men out there who leave the baggage. You know, they don't seem
But that doesn't mean we want to pick up other guys' baggage. You know what? I don't want another guy's baggage.
Well, y'all don't seem to have a problem leaving it either.
Well, you know what? I haven't left any baggage, but I'm telling you right now, never again will I clean up another man's errors. Clean up his mistakes. Never. I'll never do that again.
And I agree with that part of it. I just think that you're coming down awful hard on single women who you're talking about, you know, they don't cook dinner and everything. Well,
they don't.
They have to go out and make a living to support these children, and half of these guys are not paying.
That's fine. You know what? That's fine. But why would I want to date somebody who wouldn't be willing to make dinner?
Well, that's fine, but, I mean, you're bringing up all these issues. Women don't want to cook them.
They don't.
Women don't want to do this.
They don't.
They don't have time.
Fine, whatever the reason. You know what? If I'm with somebody, I'll be with somebody who has the time.
I'd like to see half of you men do what half of the women have to do.
Irrelevant. You know what? We'll date the half that does have the time.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to be with the half that doesn't?
Well, I just think you're coming down awful hard on the women.
So, in other words, what? We, as a charitable venture, should date single mothers?
I'm not saying you should, but I don't think you should be saying some of the stuff you're saying about them right now.
Like what?
Where are the women? They don't cook.
Right.
Well, you know,
single mothers don't cook. Single mothers do not cook.
A lot of them don't have time.
I don't care what the reason is. I don't care if they have a good reason. If I am with a woman, I want dinner made. You know what? In fact, I want other meals made too.
Yeah, I see. So you men, typical man. You just get
typical man. And by the way, you're the kind of woman we would avoid like the plague because you've got all that pseudo feminist claptrap coming out of you. You know what? Who needs that? Who wants to hear your mouth?
For you.
What man would want to hear your mouth?
Pretty much a mouth match for you.
Well, yeah, you think so, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm down here at the radio station getting rich, and you're sitting home or
you don't know
calling in to talk to me.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. Right. Shannon, what did you want to say to Jennifer here?
Yeah, I'm so sick and tired of women making up excuses for other women.
Yes,
you are, because what you just said is that a woman doesn't choose to be a single woman. Now, of course, there are situations.
I said they don't always choose.
Jennifer, let me speak, please. There are certain situations where definitely the woman gets in trouble, the man splits. Yeah, okay. But the fact of the matter is that most of these women, these young women, are trapping these men to begin with. These men have no intentions of being a father when they get involved with this woman, but she goes ahead and gets pregnant anyway. And guess what? He's stuck for the next 21 years when he didn't want to. You know what, though? Condoms don't always work. And what about her decision? She could abort. She could have adoption. You know, I mean, it's a bunch of BS. I'm so sick and tired of this crap going on in this flipping world today. It's just like, oh, these women need to get up off their lazy asses and get the, you know what, to work. Quit having babies that you can't pay for.
Most of them do work. Every single friend of mine that has children does work, and that's why they can't cook and do all this stuff that all these men are complaining about, and that's my point.
Well, by the way, speaking of choices, let's talk about choices. Jennifer, you're calling from Baltimore, which is a stone's throw from Washington, D.C., where more than 70% of all births are out of wedlock. This is an epidemic going on here. And so why would any man want to be involved with an irresponsible slut like that?
Mm-hmm. And listen, Tom, I'm calling from Washington State, and I am 31 years old. I am married for almost a year, and I have no children to speak of. Okay? Because I know I'm not ready to have children, and I don't want to pay for it right now.
Good for you.
You know, hey, if more women would think like that, use the goddamn birth control that the man created.
Good point.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866.
All I heard, I turned on the radio with my son in the car, and all I hear you is you're bitching.
Tough luck.
About single mothers.
Well, maybe you shouldn't listen.
Why are you talking about it?
Maybe you shouldn't listen anymore.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Like us on Hot Talk 1080.
Tom Leykis Show. Elise, hello.
Hey, Tom. How are you doing?
All right, Elise.
I have to say I love listening to your show.
Thank you.
But I had to agree with the comment that you made on the women making the choice as far as having children. Completely true. I know of three girls that I know that have tried to trap men into family way, I guess you want to call it.
Yeah.
And one of them worked and two of them haven't. And actually, a friend of mine right now, she just got pregnant. Her boyfriend comes over like once every 2 weeks or something like that. And I think she doesn't know how to tell the difference between that it's just sex and not a complete relationship. And that's completely true. I agree with your comment there. But it's ridiculous that women nowadays, they have knowledge and everything, and they don't want to use the birth control to not get pregnant.
Well, they just figure that we men will end up paying, so they're sloppy about it.
Yeah. Well, I have to say I'm a single mom. I don't get any child support, don't want any child support, but do everything completely on my own, but I do cook. So I'm on the opposite norm of what you were talking about earlier. I do home-cooked meals. It's not every single day, but it's at least 4 times a week that I do home-cooked meals.
Well, at least you do that.
Yes. I try my best.
All right, Elise. Well, thank you. Appreciate the call. April on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
I do not agree with you. I am a single mom, but I'm married. I was married, and I have 2 kids. And when we had our kids, we decided to have them together. I did not say, okay, I'm going to make this man be a father, and because I'm entrap him.
Well, nobody said everybody does that.
Okay, so men are just responsible as women.
But men are not always just as responsible. As a matter of fact, in most cases, we're not.
They want to have kids, and they need to stop sticking their things in girls then.
No, men are never going to stop having sex any more than they're going to stop urinating or eating or breathing.
Well, they need to protect themselves.
Well, again,
get yourself fixed.
Again, you have the same opportunity to prevent pregnancy. In fact, you've got 11 times the opportunities we do.
Well, they need a double
So the bottom line is that women want to get knocked up. They don't care who does it. They don't care who the father of the child is. They want to get knocked up, and then they want to get somebody else to pay the bill.
Do you know how many people in collections for drop-dead dads? Come on now. Look how many fathers don't pay child support.
Do you think women think about that before they get themselves knocked up?
They do.
Oh, yeah. No, they don't.
Because I work. I take care of both of my kids. I don't need his help.
Why did you do this?
What do you mean? I was married.
I know.
And he decided, we both decided, not just he. He said he wanted kids.
How old were you when you had the first kid?
I was 21.
Too young.
Yeah, I was young.
And so was he.
No, he wasn't young.
How old was he?
He was 28.
28. And why did he leave you?
Because he wanted somebody younger.
So, in other words, he was making more money and he traded up?
Making more money? No, he's not making more money. He's at the same job when I met him. He's still at.
Really? How did he get somebody younger than you?
Probably driving around to high school.
Oh, there you go. That's probably the way he met you, right there?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
But I have 2 kids and I'm a single mom, and I think you're giving us a bad rep.
Well, you know what? You're entitled to that opinion. And I say, hey, all single mothers not bad people. But I would not recommend that any man date a single mother. Not at all.